Hey, Professor O'Donoghue here today. So I want to talk to you about the Arduino. There it is. And it is an excellent open source microcontroller that we'll be using in class. It is open source, so that means that anything you make with it, anything you do with it, you do not have to pay copyright. It is totally free. It's open for anyone to use and make and prototype anything they want to, even if it's a product that you're going to sell. So it's really cool. And the other thing that's awesome about it is that if you go to the website, let's move this. This is the Arduino website. It has all kinds of information. So it's www.arduino.cc. Let's see if we can make it bigger. It makes that part bigger, but not the address. But anyway, it has all sorts of projects and a community, resources, just pretty much anything you need in order to use this Arduino. Okay, so let's talk about some of the characteristics of the Arduino. First of all, so here's the Arduino board. It's a board, right? Because not only does it have the Arduino IC, integrated circuit, which is this right here, it has other things on this board as well, right? Here's the USB port. The Arduino is a microcontroller, which means it's hardware, and it requires a program called a sketch to be uploaded to the memory of the microcontroller in order for it to do the task that you want it to do. So in order to communicate with your computer, you need to use a USB cable. So that's what this is. This is a USB cable going to my computer. All right, the other thing that this Arduino has is, let's get in here a little bit bigger. Okay, it has a 5-volt power supply, which is this pin right here. You can see the 5 volts. It has a 3.3 volt power supply. It has a reset. It has ground. Okay. It has analog inputs that you can input into the device. And it has digital inputs and outputs as well. Okay. So those are the pins, and you can see the pin numbers along the inside. So you can see like A0, A1, A2, 3, A4, that stands for analog. And then over here you can see D0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 13. Okay? So that is how the physical chip looks itself. Okay, when you plug the Arduino into your computer, there's some stuff that you will have to do in order so that your computer can talk to it. So let's go back to the software, the Arduino software. Okay, so if I open up the Arduino software, this is what comes. This is the Arduino IDE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. This IDE is software that allows you to create a program. So here's a program right here that I created. It allows you to compile that program and upload that program onto the Arduino's memory, into the Arduino's memory is what I should say. All right, but before you can do any of that, you have to set your hardware up. Okay, the first thing the software needs to know is which Arduino board you are using, because there are several boards. So in order to set that correctly, you can see down here it says Arduino Uno on communication port 11. But say you didn't have this message down here. The way you would set the board is you would go to Tools, you would go to Board, and you would click Arduino Uno. Okay, that puts you on the right board. All right, in order for your computer to communicate and send data and information back and forth, it has to be on a communication port. Okay, so right here, In the same spot, it shows communication port 11. Okay, as long as you're on COM port 3 or higher, you'll be fine. But if you needed to change that, you would go back to tools. You would go to port, serial ports, because this is a serial port, and you would click communication port 11, and then you would see down here which communication port you're on. One of the issues that you can have if you keep trying to upload a sketch to your Arduino and it's never uploading, it just seems like it keeps spinning forever. Usually that means that you don't have it on the correct communication port, and so it is not talking to your computer. So that's what you have to make sure that you do. Every now and again, you may need the Arduino drivers. Normally when you download the IDE, you get the drivers as well, but sometimes that's a problem as well. Okay, so let's show how to upload a sketch onto your Arduino. So let's go to File. Let's go to Examples. So there are all these wonderful built-in examples on the Arduino website that you can use just to learn about the Arduino. So we're going to go to Basics and we're going to go to Blink. All right. So what this program is going to do is it is going to cause your LED to blink on for a second and then go off for a second and then come on for a second and then go off for a second. So what you do is, this is the program. It's already been written for you by Scott Fitzgerald, which is really cool. So we're just going to upload it onto our Arduino and test it out. So the first thing you do is compile the sketch or verify it. When you're done, you see down here there's a message that says done compiling. So that's good. That means there are no errors. Now we need to upload it into the Arduino's memory. So we're going to click Upload. All right, it uploaded successfully because we have this message right here that says done uploading. So now the program is in the Arduino's memory. So now what we have to do is build the Arduino circuit. Okay, so we are going to go back to the Arduino website and find a schematic for the circuit. Okay, so we're at the website. We go to Resources. We go to Tutorials. Click on that. Now we go down to Built-in Examples. Okay, here are the built-in examples. We want Basics. That's the first one that we're going to do is Basics, and it's called Blink. So let's click on there. So this tells me the hardware that I'm going to need for this example. I need an Arduino Genuino, which is just the Uno board. I need an LED, and I need a 220 ohm resistor. All right, so now it is going to show me a picture of the Arduino along with the LED. So here's a picture. So the picture is showing me in picture form that my resistor is connected to pin 13, and then my LED is connected to my resistor, one side of my LED, the cathode side, and then the anode side is connected to ground. Nope, I have that backwards. The cathode is connected to ground. That's the short side. The long side is connected to the resistor. All right. So that's the picture. Also, we have the schematic. There's always a schematic, right? So this is a chip diagram for the circuit that you're going to build. So basically, this rectangle represents the Arduino right here, and then you have your different pins. And as you can tell, we see right here that a resistor is connected to D13. The other side of the resistor is connected to your LED. Then your LED is connected to ground. So that's our schematic. So now let's build that schematic with actual parts. Okay, so here is my Arduino. Let's zoom out a bit. Okay, so here is my LED. Let's see, where are my? Well, here's my LED. And if you look at that LED, you see that one side is longer than the other side. The short side is the cathode, and the cathode is always connected to ground. The other long side is the anode, right? And the way I remember the two is I say a mnemonic. The cat jumped on the ground. That helps me to remember that the cathode always goes to ground, because an LED is a unidirectional device. If you build this or wire up this LED the wrong way, it will not work. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to wiring. Oh yeah, here is my 220 ohm resistor. Okay, we have our schematic, and a schematic is what you always use to build a circuit. And so if we look at our schematic, we see over here that pin 13 is connected to one side of the resistor. So when I look at the resistor, I put the resistor into my little breadboard. One side is going to be connected to pin 13. So I connect that side and I look on this board. It's easier for me to look to the side. Here is pin 13. So I have pin 13 connected to one side of the resistor. The other side of the resistor right here is connected to my LED. All right, and it's connected to the anode of the LED. So the anode is the long side. It's the long side of the LED, right? So if we straighten that out, this side right here, this leg is longer than this leg. That's the anode. The short side, that's the cathode. And I like to remember it by saying the cat jumped on the ground, because the cathode always connects to ground. It is the side that always connects to ground. And so I'm going to connect the anode to the resistor. Then I'm going to bring the cathode down here. All right, and now I'm going to connect that to ground, okay, because this is right here on my circuit being connected to ground. So I'm going to connect that to ground, which is right here. And look at that. Just like our program was coded to turn an LED on and off for 1 second, it's happening. Okay? It's happening. Now, what happens if you don't put your LED in right? All right, so I took my LED out and I turned it around and I put it in my circuit. Oops. And look at that. It's not turning on because an LED is not bidirectional. It's unidirectional. So you have to wire it the correct way with the cathode wired to ground in order for it to work correctly. So when I change it back around, and I plug this in. All right. We're on and popping. Okay? So that's Arduinos. They're pretty simple. And you're going to have lots of fun with them. Adios.